to attend this press conference. As has been announced, this is for releasing our draft political resolution for our 23rd Party Congress. So I think we'll first do the release thing and then get down to.
Sir, on your left. Sir, left. Sir, sir, एक second,
Okay. Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Hi, you know everybody here. This is Comrade Tapan Sen, also our working class leader, Comrade Hanan Mullah of the Kisan struggle fame at the moment, Comrade Raghavlu, Comrade Nelutpal Vasu. So, the CPIM practices a very vibrant inner-party democracy. We are probably the only party in the country which mandatorily has to release the draft political resolution that it adopts at every party congress 2 months before the party congress convenes. The party congress is scheduled as of now to convene from the 6th of April at Kannur in Kerala. So before the 6th of February, this has to be released, and therefore it is being released today. And it will be translated in all the regional languages and available to the party members. And every single party member has the right to send an amendment, a suggestion on this draft, which will be considered at the party congress, and we have a report on amendments which actually shows how the party is thinking and what is the inner party understanding on various issues. A report on amendments is presented and adopted by the party congress. So that is the elaborate procedure of inner party democracy that we follow. And usually some thousands of amendments come, suggestions come, which are all considered and replied to, and that report adopted by the party congress. So this 23rd party congress is being held 4 years after our 22nd party congress. During this period, we have circulated some extracts out of this resolution. So that essentially contains the essence of what this political resolution says. The first point is that during these 4 years, there's been a further consolidation of the BJP, which, being in government, is aggressively pursuing the Hindutva agenda of the fascistic RSS. It has mounted a multi-pronged attack to the pursuit of rabid neoliberal reforms, strengthening the communal corporate nexus in the country, looting of our national assets, promoting crony capitalism, legalizing political corruption, and imposing full-fledged authoritarianism in the country. Particularly since its return in 2019, and that return was on the basis of scripting a communal nationalist jingoistic narrative. And having returned to government, it has mounted a systematic assault on all the fundamental pillars of our secular democratic constitution. Its first act was the dissolution of the state of J&K, abrogation of Article 370 and 35A. This was followed very soon with the enactment of the unconstitutional Citizenship Amendment Act, and a process began where people's democratic rights and civil liberties were being violated through the gross misuse of draconian laws like the UAPA, sedition, NSA, etc. And there has been a conscious effort to try and change the character of the Indian Republic. But this period also saw the growth of very big people's struggles. Even before the 2019 elections, there were big people's mobilizations, and particularly the growing unity between the working class, the peasantry, and the agricultural labor, which began before 2019. That got momentum subsequently after 2019. The trade unions, the central trade unions, have been on a virtual warpath, calling for an all India strikes every year, almost, and this year it is now slated to be on the 27th and 28th of March. 28th and 29th of March. And every year this is against the new labor codes, the abolition of the existing labor laws, against large-scale privatization, and against the large-scale layoffs and job losses that have been happening in the country. But the crowning highlight of this was the historic struggle of the Indian farmers, which ultimately forced the obstinate and obdurate Prime Minister to actually repeal the agri laws, and that was a historic success. And before that, the anti-CAA movement saw a big upsurge in terms of our youth coming out, holding the Constitution of India in one hand and the tricolour on the other. So this was also a period of growing struggles, which will also grow. But this has also been a period where India has further cemented itself as a subordinate ally of US imperialism. India today is a junior partner of the global designs of USA in its military, strategic understandings and alliances. And this has had a very negative and is having a very negative impact on India's relations with all our neighbors, and also in India's standing in global affairs as an independent voice, as a country following an independent foreign policy. That independent foreign policy, that has been virtually abandoned by the Modi government, and today India is seen as a surrogate or an appendage of USA in global affairs. Now this, leading to deterioration of relations with our neighbors, is happening in the background of serious international developments that the resolution elaborates and analyzes. But the main task that we have taken for ourselves, which will be considered and will be adopted by the 23rd Congress, is that in these conditions, the primary task before us is to defeat the BJP and remove them from controlling the reins of government. So this task of isolating and defeating the BJP requires, which we elaborate in our political line, it requires first and foremost the independent strengthening of the CPIM. It requires the further strengthening of the unity of the left forces, the left parties, and the party shall work for the broadest possible mobilization of secular forces against Hindutva agenda and its manner in which it is functioning. The party will also be in the forefront to mobilize the widest sections of the people against the aggressive pursuit of the neoliberal policies, and all that is happening, the loot of national assets, privatization, etc., and intensifying class and mass struggles, like the recent Kisan struggle that has happened, and work for the broadest mobilization of people rallying of secular opposition forces against the corporate communal regime. And this struggle against the Hindutva agenda and neoliberalism and the defense of people's civil liberties and democratic rights against authoritarianism, these are not separate struggles but are all integrated into one integral struggle against this regime and its policies. The party will also support joint platforms of united actions of the class and mass organizations, will support the measures that strengthen the worker peasant agricultural labor united actions. And on that basis, a sustained manner in which to strengthen the party independently, strengthen the unity of the left forces, to promote and to put before the people the alternative left and democratic program as the real alternative to the policies that are being pursued, and on that basis to achieve our task of isolating and defeating the BJP. So the political line, finally, we say, as and when elections come, appropriate electoral tactics to maximize the pooling of anti-BJP votes will be adopted based on this above political line understanding. So electoral tactics will be guided by the maximization of the pooling of anti-BJP votes in order to achieve this objective of defeating the BJP. So on the basis of this political understanding and this proposed political line before the party Congress, the tasks of the party that have been worked out, that is also there in the extracts that we have given you, which actually follow in order to achieve the implementation of this political line. So this, in a summary, in a nutshell, is the essence of the political resolution, draft political resolution that is placed before you, and it, as I said, in detail it carries out our understanding of the international situation, the growing aggressiveness of US imperialism, the manner in which a new world order is sought to be shaped post-COVID situation, which is what the USA is trying to strengthen its hegemony over the world and its grip over the world. All these factors and the developments in Afghanistan, etc., everything of that is analyzed in this. From there, we draw our conclusions and the tasks that are there before the party. So this is, in a nutshell, the essence of the draft political resolution. So if you want, now the floor is yours. If you have any questions to ask.
आपने कहा कि